Martin O'Neill has missed training this morning as Celtic prepare for Sunday's trip to Kilmarnock, with Sean Maloney stepping in to take the session. We also have a massive transfer update on a winger who is now very close to signing. Chris Sutton has named his price for Alistair Johnston. Jota has made his long-awaited return to the training pitch, and there is some very interesting background on Celtic's incoming signing and a bust-up with his former manager. Big morning, let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Jota has returned to training this morning, and Celtic have confirmed it themselves by sharing footage from Lennoxtown with the caption, "A familiar face at training today." It is a moment Celtic supporters have been waiting a long time for. The Portuguese winger has not played competitive football since suffering a serious knee injury during Celtic's title-clinching win over Dundee United at Tannadice in April of last year. His recovery has taken significantly longer than first hoped, with Jota spending the best part of 16 months working his way back towards full fitness. This morning's appearance at training is a real step forward. However, it should not be taken as a sign that he is ready to play immediately. Martin O'Neill had previously made clear that getting Jota back on the grass and having him available for competitive football are two very different stages of the process. The most recent indications pointed towards a competitive return coming later in the season rather than right now. He is not expected to feature against Kilmarnock on Sunday, but simply seeing him out on the training pitch again matters. Jota was one of the most exciting wide players this club has had in recent seasons, and a fully fit version of him adds something to this squad that money cannot easily replace. With a Champions League playoff against Lask coming up on the 19th of August, O'Neill will know exactly what a fit Jota could bring to those games in the weeks ahead. The road back has been long. This morning was another important step on it. Now for the main story, as Celtic are closing in on the signing of Heisim Hassan from Real Oviedo, with Celtic News understanding that a deal is near, and Real Oviedo themselves confirming to Celtic News that the information surrounding the proposed transfer is correct. Hassan is a 24-year-old winger who played in La Liga last season with Oviedo and represented Egypt at the World Cup in America this summer. The deal is understood to be worth around £6 million initially, with add-ons potentially taking the total package to around £9 million. Hassan has already agreed personal terms on a 4-year contract. However, Celtic News has also shed light today on some background involving Hassan and his former manager at Oviedo, Veljko Paunovic, that caused a public fallout at the club last season. After Hassan had been left on the bench and then came on and contributed to a goal, he turned towards the dugout and reportedly shouted, "Try putting me on the bench now! Put me on the bench!" Oviedo responded publicly and stated that Hassan had disrespected their manager and engaged in actions that could not be repeated. Hassan did not wait long to apologize. He issued a public statement the following day saying, "I want to apologize to my coach Veljko Paunovic and his coaching staff, as well as to my teammates, the board, and the Real Oviedo fans. My gesture during the goal celebration was wrong, it was inappropriate, and it doesn't represent the values of this team. I will continue to work as I have been so that everyone can be proud of me, and it won't happen again." He was not suspended or fined. Paunovic was sacked not long afterwards, though there is no suggestion the Hassan incident played any role in that decision. For Celtic, the character question will naturally come up. But what the story also tells you is that Hassan is someone who demands to play and reacts badly to being left out. For a team that needs to add quality and hunger on the left wing, that competitive edge is not always a bad thing to have. In other news, Chris Sutton has delivered his verdict on the Alistair Johnston situation and has named a clear price that Celtic should demand before even entertaining the idea of selling. Sutton, writing in the Daily Record, has said Celtic should be looking for at least £25 million for the Canadian right-back. Everton have been linked with Johnston, but are reported to have stepped back because they were not prepared to match Celtic's valuation. Sutton believes Celtic are right to hold firm. He said, "For me, Johnston is worth a minimum of £25 million. He went further, saying, "They are a completely different team with Johnston in it. There is more experience and more control defensively. On that right-hand side, they carry far more of a threat. The timing of any potential sale is also a major factor. Celtic face Lask in the Champions League playoff on the 19th of August. Sutton does not want the squad weakened before those games, pointing out that Celtic sold Nicholas Kuhn before last season's qualifier against Kairat without an adequate replacement arriving in time, and the consequences of that were felt. He also questioned the lower figures being mentioned in some reports, with certain outlets suggesting Johnston could go for around £14 million. Sutton pointed to Kieran Tierney's £25 million move to Arsenal as the benchmark, adding that Johnston's long contract running until 2029, combined with his World Cup performances for Canada this summer, leaves Celtic in a strong negotiating position. His conclusion was simple. Celtic cannot currently replace Johnston at the same level. Anthony Ralston and Colby Donovan are cover options, but neither offers what Johnston brings. If Everton or anyone else wants him, they pay what he is worth. In other news, Martin O'Neill was absent from Celtic's training session this morning as the squad prepared for Sunday's trip to Rugby Park to face Kilmarnock. Celtic confirmed earlier this week that the 74-year-old had undergone a small procedure and was expected to be discharged from hospital within 48 hours of that announcement. This morning he was not present at Lennoxtown, with Sean Maloney taking charge of the session alongside Mark Fotheringham and Stephen McManus. Maloney is also due to carry out Celtic's pre-match media duties later today, which means the usual press conference preview ahead of the Kilmarnock game will be delivered by the assistant manager rather than O'Neill. That press conference will be the next moment where supporters get an update on the manager's condition and any timeline for his return. It is worth keeping some perspective here. Celtic have described the procedure as a small one, and the initial discharge timeframe was short. But with the Champions League playoff against Lask just 12 days away, any uncertainty around the manager's availability will be in the back of supporters' minds. Maloney has stepped into the number one role before. He knows the group, the players trust him, and the preparation for Sunday's game is continuing without disruption under his oversight. Celtic are in good hands in the short term. The focus for now is on getting O'Neill back in full health and ready for the biggest games of the season. Lastly, Chris Sutton has also urged Celtic not to sell Alistair Johnston without a proper replacement being secured first, as the club balance their incoming and outgoing business in a window that has less than 3 weeks before the Champions League playoff. Johnston has been one of Celtic's most consistent players since arriving from CF Montreal. He is quick, aggressive in the tackle, and gets forward with real purpose. He played a major role in the run-in that delivered the Premiership title last season and has carried that form into the start of this campaign, starting the opening day win over Dundee. He is also under contract until 2029, which means Celtic have zero obligation to sell. With Heisim Hassan closing in on a move to Parkhead to add width on the left, the recruitment picture is starting to take shape. But the right-back position is a different story if Johnston leaves. Sutton was blunt on the point, saying Celtic do not currently have another player who can offer the same level on that side. Everton have reportedly cooled their interest after failing to meet Celtic's asking price. That may not be the end of the story. Other clubs could come in, but for now, Celtic are holding firm, and with the last tie approaching fast, that is exactly the right position to take. Johnston is expected to be in the squad on Sunday as Celtic look to make it 2 wins from 2 in the Premiership before attention fully turns to Europe. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.